Are you ready to find out how to change your career into becoming a virtual assistant? In this video, I'm going to dive through a little bit of a step-by-step process that you can follow to be able to switch any career that you might currently have and become a virtual assistant. Now, the first step is focus on value. A really big misconception that a lot of people make when it comes to becoming a virtual assistant is like, hey, I'm gonna make a lot of money. Hey, I'm gonna work for all of these clients. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. But really what you need to focus on as a virtual assistant is what is the value that you're creating for your clients? Because you're only going to be paid equal to the value that you can create for them. So what I mean by this is what are the problems that you're going to be solving, and that's why they want to pay you? What are the things that you will create as an outcome for their business, create as a kind of a relief for them of why they should even start working with you in the first place? Because a lot of the time we end up focusing on skills, on upskilling ourselves, making stuff a little better. But really the focus here is to become a really successful virtual assistant, especially if you're switching careers, is you need to focus on the value you're creating for your clients. Now, there's going to be a lot of essentially in-depth client research you're going to have to do, and also seeing what other virtual assistants have created as a result for their clients, the really successful ones, the real successful ones, not just the ones who charge a lot, but then they don't last long with their clients. The one who've lasted long with their clients, creating really significant results, alleviating or giving them some relief one way or the other in whatever it is that they're doing. So that's what I really want you to focus on. That's why I have this as the very first step, is focus on value. What's the value that you're going to be creating for this client? And everything else just becomes a little bit easier. Next is you do need to study your potential clients. What I mean by this is if you're still contemplating, you're switching from maybe a BPO job, a teaching job, a nursing job, and you want to become a virtual assistant, study the people who are possibly someone that you could work with. So it could be looking at LinkedIn, it could be looking at, if you're from the Philippines, Online Jobs at PH, it could be looking at all of these different hiring websites and just searching up, if you want to be a medical virtual assistant, searching medical virtual assistant. It's looking up social media assistant. So then you are starting to see who are the people that you're going to be potentially working with, and then doing a little bit of research on them. This is kind of getting to know who your target audience are and if you really want to work with this kind of a client. A mistake I see a lot is that people just jump into becoming a virtual assistant for someone else, but then they don't know their industry, they don't know where they can create that value, they don't know what the common problems are of why they need a virtual assistant in the first place. So it's really key to do the studying so then you can start seeing what your effect would be or what would be kind of the goals they would bring to the table basically, and what problems you're solving for them. Next is to then assess your current skills. As you've kind of thought, okay, what value am I bringing? Okay, these are the kind of things that my potential clients could be looking for. Then you want to assess what you currently have and then what you currently bring to the table. So for example, and I've done a couple of videos on this of like transcribing basically what are your current skills in your current job and then into becoming a virtual assistant. Let's say that you're currently someone who does create content for other people, then your skills, if that is something you want to pursue as someone who works with someone on their content, then those are the skills that you're translating into becoming a virtual assistant. If you're someone who's really good at project management, that is the skills that you're bringing through. So you want to start seeing what are the current things that I have done or accomplished in my last couple of jobs that I can then easily translate in becoming a virtual assistant. A very quick and easy way to do this, to be honest, is to upload your resume, put it up into ChatGPT, and ask it like, hey, I'm becoming a virtual assistant. What skills should I have basically, or what skills do I currently have to be able to move or switch basically in becoming a virtual assistant? Next is become an intern. And this is something that I kind of been playing around giving as advice for people. But what I mean by that is when you're an intern, let's say you're doing it for school, you can have this curiosity about you where you literally don't know anything. You're asking a lot of questions, you're getting feedback from your peers, you're getting some mentorship for someone else. And this is what I mean by become an intern. Have a little bit of an intern mindset as you're coming into this kind of career where you are open to a lot of new things, where you're not closing yourself of like, oh, I'm only this kind of assistant. But to be honest, it might be that you're better fit on this. You just haven't tried it yet. It might also be that something you've been avoiding is actually something that's a perfect fit for you. So becoming an intern is having that mind or that eye for curiosity and asking questions and being open to new things and trying out new things, because even though you do have past experience and you don't have experience as a virtual assistant, there might be some things that'll surprise you about it. Maybe some misconceptions you had or some story someone told that's actually not really true. So by kind of having that intern mindset, you're kind of opening yourself up to being able to learn a little bit better, to kind of see best practices that usually aren't advertised. And it also opens you up to discovering a little bit more about yourself as you go through this journey. Next is niching down. And what I mean by this is, as you kind of figured out what kind of assistant you want to do or who you want to work with, it's important to niche down. And what I mean by this is finding out who specifically you want to work with. So there's different ways that you can do this. One is creating outright a persona of like, hey, I want to work for a woman named Anna. She is a author for these kind of specific kind of books for, coaching or consulting, whatever it is, and they have these kind of courses. When you get more specific about who it is that you want to work with, when you niche down specifically, you are able to really kind of hone in what kind of things you want to work with your clients. So as an example, if you are someone who wants to become a social media assistant for someone, you want to create their content, create engagement, and they're essentially maybe a doctor, and then they have their own products, they're selling their own courses, whatever it is, then it makes it easier for you that when you are talking to that target audience to resonate with them. Plus, when you are looking for jobs, you can say, hey, this is specifically who I've worked with before. This is why I can help you. You can be more specific on your answers of why you are that fit for them. So it basically gives you a little bit of an edge, a little bit more versus like other applicants who might be applying for jobs, is that you are able to really identify who it is that you want to work with. Next is creating your game plan. What I mean by this is, as you've started assessing what you want to be, as you've started seeing what you currently have, is you want to create a game plan for yourself of basically the next steps that I'm going to walk you down through. First is creating your assets. So it's creating your resume, portfolio, if that is something that's relevant, maybe creating like a quick mini website using Canva, because that's super easy and quick to do, and finding out ways to make sure that it aligns with everything else that's online, updating your LinkedIn, updating your Facebook, your Instagram, so then when people look you up, when potential employers are researching you, and they are researching you, they will find basically assets and things that align to what it is that you're telling them. So that is the key thing about this part, is making sure that you are creating assets that align with who you are and who you want to be, so that it's easy for you when it comes to applying for these jobs, researching for these jobs. And even if you do get like direct contact from other people of like, hey, I see this is what you do, you have a very polished way of like, hey, this is who I am, this is my rates, this is what I do, these are the results I can do for you, versus kind of being caught unaware of not knowing what to show them, what to send them, because you don't have your assets in one place. Next step is to learn and get mentorship. Now, mentorship doesn't have to necessarily be a one-on-one call. This could be joining mastermind groups, this could be joining different Facebook groups where they can give you some answers. Basically, you can ask them anything when you're stuck. You have different communities that you can tap for different things, and you're learning at the same time. You're learning from real life examples of other people. You can look at the questions that other people have asked and look at the advice there. You are able to also help other people as they come in, and you actually have something that you want to add to the conversation. Whatever that looks like, learning and getting mentorship kind of really is this chicken and egg where one has to be with the other, or else it doesn't really work. And of course, you need to test and document. What I mean by this is you want to test out different resumes and see, okay, these kinds of resumes really work, and I want to document like, hey, these are the changes I want to create on my own resume or the way that I'm applying for jobs. The same is going to be applied once you actually have a job, is that you're constantly testing and documenting how you do things, so it's easier for you to do them again the next time. You're essentially creating standard operating procedures of how you do things, so it's easier for you to replicate what those look like. And lastly, and most importantly, find clients. Don't just keep studying all of these videos, don't just keep being on these communities. Actually go ahead and put yourself out there, and you're probably gonna get 5 rejections, 10, probably a couple 100, but the key thing here is, as you're starting out as a virtual assistant, is you're constantly iterating and looking at yourself, looking at what are the ways that you can get better, and getting kind of comfortable in the rejection, because not all of the clients that you find might be a fit for you, or you might not be a fit for them, because they might be looking for a personality type or a skill that you just don't have, and that is okay. The world is abundant enough, the world is big enough that you don't have to really get stuck on when you do have a ton of rejections. And rejections is hard, and I know I've been doing sales basically for the last 5 years, but the key thing is to keep in mind is what value are you creating and who are you creating it for. Now, if you guys like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there. Comment below any questions you might have about switching your careers. And if you still haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos every Sunday and Thursday on how to work from home and how to have a business from home, which you guys can check out those 2 playlists right here and the latest video right here. Hope you guys have an amazing day. Remember that small steps matters, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!